Yes, hello and welcome to my tutorial on how to build a GMod plane. It's been requested by somebody I met on a multiplayer server, and the first thing I want to say is that I am currently on a multiplayer server, which is very important because the physics differ from a multiplayer server to a single player server, and that makes it a big difference, because if you build a plane in single player and then try to use it in multiplayer, it'll probably spaz out because the thrusters are far too strong when you put it into multiplayer. That's why I'm going to build this directly in multiplayer, and I'm quite lucky because there's nobody else here. Well, the first thing we're going to do is going to have these props ready. The first thing you'll need is a 1x4 PHX plate, which is going to be the base. Two 1x5 PHX plates, which are going to make up the pairs of wings, because this is going to be a biplane. A 1x3 plate and a 1x1 plate for the tail. And these two columns of 1x5 and 1x1x5 cubes and 1x1x5 cubes. We're going to stick those between the pairs of wings. And this is going to be the base for our wheels. And this plate here is going to act as a weight, because we're going to have to balance the plane. So the frame doesn't really matter. I'm just using this frame for the tutorial. You can use any frame you want. The thrusters are going to be important in the end, and that the plane is going to be balanced, which makes the difference. So the frame isn't really the problem as long as it's balanced. Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our EasyPrecision tool, and it's very important that you have EasyPrecision and Smartsnap, and we are going to weld the first pair of wings to the bottom of the base. Then we're going to take this and we're going to weld it here. So that's the basic layout of our plane. Then we're going to take these two columns, weld them onto the wings. Oh shit. Now this one. Then we're going to have to take this other pair of wings and weld it onto one of the columns. And then we're going to take the tail fin and weld it directly on the end of the plane. Then we're going to leave this aside for a moment. No, in fact I'm going to weld it directly to the base. Okay. And we can now take the airboat seat and weld it somewhere in the center. Now that everything is welded, we can take out our axis tool from EasyPrecision and axis these wheels, which are under the category of PHX transportation props. There's like the first wheel here. It's called airplane wheel. And we'll just have to access that right onto the middle of this base. Now, that's the frame, but it's not yet finished. We're going to have to get out our normal weld tool and make sure that everything is securely welded to practically every other prop in the frame. So I'm going to weld these pairs of wings together just for stability, because otherwise it's going to wobble around. and this to this. And the base of the wheels, I'm just going to leave that at that. Well, this part, so this is very important because otherwise the plane is gonna likely just spaz out, and you don't want that obviously because you can't fly it otherwise. So now one more important thing for this frame is that we no collide this block and the base, because otherwise it's also gonna glitch when you try to land, and you don't want that. Now we're gonna see if we've done everything correct. Wireless, that looks quite good. Stable. I'm gonna do that a little higher off ground. So we're gonna turn this thing, see if everything's welded correctly, yes. And except for the wheels, everything is quite secure. And when I see this, I think I'm gonna weld this to the wings and to the top part of the wings, just for stability. Okay, that looks good. Yes, that's what we wanted to achieve. Okay, as I can see, it's almost, as it's 8 minutes right now, so I won't be able to do the entire tutorial in one video, which I find pretty stupid. I'll just see how much I can get done. Now we've got the frame. The next most important part is going to be, of course, adding thrusters and balancing the plane so the weight is, well, yes, so the plane is balanced, so it won't tip over when you're flying. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the advanced pod controller from the wire, and I'm going to stick it somewhere on the wings and then link it to my pod. And now I'm going to get out the wire gates, get out the gate arithmetic, and take a gate subtract. And now we're going to have to place 5 of those for this plane, depending on how you build it later on. We're just going to place 1, 2 here, and another 2 here, and 1 here. So the location of these gates doesn't really matter. This is just for orientation, so I know these are going to be for the pitch later on. These are going to be for the roll, and this one here is going to be for the thrust. And that's basically it. And now we're just going to have to place some wire thrusters. We're going to take the thruster flat, make sure you have no effects, or if you want effects, doesn't matter. I take no sound, and the force multiplier doesn't yet matter. We're going to adjust that later on. So we're going to stick 2 thrusters on the outside of the plane wings, the bottom. They should be as far apart as possible, because if you make them very close to each other and in the middle, it's likely that the plane will have a nasty turn when it's flying or when you're driving or stuff. And if they're far apart, the steering and the roll actually affects the movement and the rotational movement in the air. Now we're going to place 2 thrusters on top of the lower wings here. They are going to be for the roll, and we are going to place 1 thruster on top of our fin rudder, whatever it is, and the one in front. Well, okay, that's going to be for pitch. Okay, the time for this tutorial is used up, so in the next tutorial I'll be doing all the wiring. So this frame part, so the thrusters are going to be the same on every plane you have. It doesn't matter where you place these, just as long as they're as far on the outside as possible, so they have the most effect. And yes, that would be it for now.